Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today we're going to look at 5 ideas that you can use for a one-shot adventure or for your next quest. Now the topic in today's video is going to be Leprechauns, and these are ideas that were submitted by you, the subscriber. Periodically, I'm going to post a topic on the community tab of the Wally DM YouTube channel where I ask you for some one-shot ideas. All you have to do is respond to the topic and you have a chance to see your name and your idea in a future video. So let's jump right in. Here are some Pathfinder and D&D one-shot ideas that you can use that center around leprechauns. The first idea was submitted by Daniel, who writes, 2 leprechaun brothers claim to know the location of an old wizard's tower that's supposedly filled with all kinds of treasure. But the scheming brothers have a bet on if the players can make it to the top of the tower and traps them inside. A wacky funhouse dungeon style game where one of the brothers sets unfair challenges and one secretly tries to help. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We have 2 leprechauns that are betting on the players, one that thinks they're going to succeed and one that thinks that they're going to fail. And of course they're going to manipulate the entire journey. Now what they have on the line on this is hard to say. Maybe the losing leprechaun has to do dishes for the next few months, or perhaps it's just a 20 gold piece bet. Either way, both of these leprechauns are coming at the players and they're going to put everything that they have against them or for them. So I could see this going a lot of ways. Perhaps there's a chasm that they need to get across, and the leprechaun that wants to see him win provides him with a bridge. And then the leprechaun that wants to see him lose puts a monster on the bridge. But then one of the players gets knocked off, and then the good leprechaun puts a flying creature out there that helps him to the top. And this could just go on and on and on, depending on what your imagination is and what you want the leprechauns to do. You know what I think would be a lot of fun is at the end of this journey, the characters find out that both of the leprechauns were involved in manipulating them the entire time, and they find a way to get back at them. Maybe they steal both of their gold, or maybe they play a trick on the leprechauns, or something along those lines. Now our second idea for a one-shot that involves leprechauns was submitted by Inquisitor Thorn, who writes, a clan of leprechauns is sick of all these adventurers trying to steal their gold. They focus their magic to create a golem protector made of iron pots. But now good luck to all of them, because this golem takes its job too literally and won't even let the leprechauns near their own treasure. So this is almost like the movies that you see where artificial intelligence takes over. The leprechauns thought they were protecting their treasure and they created this golem to protect it, but then it turns on them and won't even let them near their own gold. And for a leprechaun, that's got to be hard, not being able to access their treasure. So now the leprechauns have to swallow their pride and hire an adventuring party to take on the CR20 Iron Pot Golem. I'm sure the adventurers are just lining up to take that challenge. But in all seriousness, perhaps there is a way to sneak past the golem and find some kind of contraption that's either going to disable it or even blow it up. So our player characters accept the challenge and begin this journey of trying to sneak past this giant robot. If they get to the other end, then perhaps they find a way to disable it or even blow up the Iron Golem. Now, when they're all done with this and return to the leprechauns, are they going to be rewarded as a promise? Perhaps maybe a wish spell or all the gold that they could have? Or would the leprechauns back out of the deal at the last minute? Perhaps once the Iron Golem is destroyed, they get to their treasure and they disappear into the Feywild, and now the adventurers get absolutely nothing for their troubles. The third idea for a one-shot adventure for leprechauns was submitted by Dr. Feargood, who writes, a strange wee man with a green top hat and his pedaling wagon appears in the town and sells chocolate bars filled with golden juiciness. The next morning, all those who ate the sweet treat are missing their tongue. Someone says they observed the strange wee man wandering the city early this morning carrying a bucket of gold chunks around. Okay, so let me get this straight. A leprechaun comes into town, hands out all these delicious chocolates, and anyone that eats them, their tongue turns to gold and falls out of their mouth? And now we have this red-bearded tongue fairy going around and collecting them and putting them in a bucket? That's absolutely insane. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. Little golden tongue nuggets. That's awesome. So this idea is going to be a lot of fun to use. The only question is do we use it with the characters involved, or has this already happened by the time they get there? If the characters are involved, then perhaps a few of them eat those sweet, delicious pieces of chocolate. They get a room at the inn. They go to sleep for the night, and then in the middle of the night, they feel that their tongue fall out of their mouth because it's now this chunk of gold, and they look up and they see this red-bearded leprechaun with the green hat just kind of give a little nod to him, pick up the gold nugget tongue, put it in his bucket, and begin to walk off. And what would be even greater is if this was like the wizard or something, and they go to cast a spell with a verbal component, and they realize that they can't talk at all. And now this leprechaun's going to turn invisible and try to sneak away with the wizard's taste tester. In the comment section below, tell me what you would do with this story, because this sounds like a lot of fun. Now, the fourth idea we have was submitted by Jay Flanders, who writes, "The party stumbles upon a pot of gold. Ecstatic about their new find, the party goes on a shopping spree in the next village. After spending every piece, a leprechaun shows up and gives them 7 days to get every piece of their gold back or be cursed with bad luck for the rest of their lives." So this idea is going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to have to set it up a little bit as a dungeon master. Of course, the very first thing we're going to have to do is get this gold into the player's hands. Perhaps they finish this long quest, and at the end of this quest they find this secret door that leads to a secret room that has this cauldron full of gold. Now, how do we get the characters to spend that gold before we have the leprechaun show up? Perhaps they invest in a business, maybe the city or the town or them as individuals are in debt, perhaps a religious monument or a church needs to be rebuilt, or perhaps the shopping spree allows the characters to buy some very powerful magic items. They get that magical sword they always wanted, the magical armor, or perhaps some type of a wand or things of that nature. But what it's going to come down to make this quest or one-shot work is they're going to have to spend part or all of the gold, and when the leprechaun comes back, they're going to be in some really big trouble, and then we have a curse that's going to come upon them until they retrieve all that gold. What that curse is up to you as the dungeon master. Be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you would have happen in this scenario. Our final idea for leprechauns in a one-shot was submitted by Matthew Kenvin, who writes, "You could find a leprechaun that's gravely ill, and they want to get their gold back because that's what will cure them. You need to follow the rainbow to get to the other side, but other bandits and adventurers are also trying to get that gold. At the inn, there's a leprechaun's house, and you need to solve some puzzles to get the gold at the inn to save the leprechaun." So this is going to take a little bit of planning if you are going to run this as the GM. You're going to need to plot out the entire journey and include a few others that are also contending for the prize. And when they get to the leprechaun's house, I would probably have it set up like some type of weird dimensional thing where there's a bunch of different puzzles inside. There's a lot of ideas that you could use on this channel, but one that really comes to mind and would be a lot of fun is if you just look at a box of Lucky Charms, and perhaps we can create some type of puzzle using all the different shapes that are found on the marshmallows inside of that box of cereal. I think it'd be a nice throwback, and when the players discover what the answer is and put 2 and 2 together as far as the puzzle and the box of Lucky Charms, I think they'd be well worth it and well worth the time invested. Now, of course, that's just an unfinished idea. Let me know in the comment section below what type of puzzle you would run that is set up by a leprechaun. So those are 5 one-shot or quest ideas that you could use in your Pathfinder D&D game that involve leprechauns. And once again, thank you to everyone that submitted an answer. I appreciate it, and go check out the community tab because we're going to start a new round and the next idea for one-shots are ready to go. Be sure to leave your comment there, and hopefully you'll see your name and idea in a future video. That's all I have for you today. I hope to see you in another video very soon, and on to the next. Let's take a look at one more idea. This is another one from Jay Flanders, who writes, "The party finds out the item they're looking for belongs to a bartender. When the party arrives at the tavern, they find out that the bartender is a leprechaun that will give them the item if they beat him in a drinking contest. FYI, he loves to cheat." Challenge accepted, Leprechaun. You might have gotten me this time, Leprechaun, but I'll get you next time. Apparently, Leprechaun, you don't know who you're messing with. I've got this in the bag.